partnership with primary mortgage banks. And those of you who run primary mortgage banks, I beg you, please recapitalize your institutions. Because when we look at the current CBN rules of how much money we can extend to you, you don't have capacity to utilize the funds we're going to put out there. So they have to recapitalize, put the right governance, bring down your NPLs to be able to access this cash. Because it pains me that we have money sitting there, but not enough PMBs have the capacity to take the money. So that's what I'm saying, that let's have some conversations amongst ourselves. It's the same thing. I foresee that if we do not address the issue of the capacity of the primary mortgage banks, we'll have the same situation that we have in the electricity sector, where a nameplate capacity is over 14,000 megawatts, but there's a restriction in our transmission capacity. So it doesn't matter, even if you generate the power, you don't have the capacity to transmit it. Same way, if we do not strengthen the lending capacity or the financial capacity of the primary mortgage banks, it doesn't matter how much money we raise, because we must unlend this money through the PMBs. We don't lend directly. We go through the PMBs, because one of the major objectives by Mr. President is to say, how do we strengthen this sector and how do we provide liquidity for those who are in this sector? So please, those of you, the PMBs, who can demonstrate capacity, the world is your oyster. MRIF is your oyster, because there's enough resources out there, but it's a function of what you can absorb. And that was one of the original objectives. So we would like to see your capacity go up by at least 5 times. Because even at the 250 billion, we're struggling to find enough PMBs that have the capacity to take the money, that also have low NPLs. And their car is also makes sense. So that, for me, if there's any message that should go out of here, it is the fact that the PMBs must step up and scale up their game if we're going to solve that problem. Otherwise, we'll just keep talking about this and it's not going to change. Most of the banks, on the other hand, that have the capacity are not interested, because they are used to working with funds with higher margins. You cannot afford to have too much margins in the real estate sector and still keep the rates down. What is the second category? Developers. We need credible developers. I'm sorry to say, the fact remains, and based on the experience of people in the market, a lot of our developers are cowboys. They are not serious businesses. Because for you to take somebody's money and then you hold the money for 6 months and come back to them and tell them that, by the way, prices have gone up, you either take your money back or there's no house for you. I think that is dishonesty at the highest order. Because what it does is that it stifles growth in the sector. It diminishes confidence of consumers and takes away trust. The second element of MRIF is offtake guarantees to developers. We're giving developers offtake guarantees that allows them to go out there and borrow money to do their projects. But I guarantee you, we will not compromise on the standards for extending the guarantees, because we're going to do credit checks on every developer before we extend credit to you. And so, the more developers build credible organizations and establish credibility, the more they can access this. That, for me, is the second bottleneck for the growth of the sector. So let us not just be talking about the fact that you have 17 million, 20 million housing deficit. The question is, what do we need to do to make sure we fix that? If we provide all the resources and all of these bottlenecks remain, we will still be where we are. So we must fix that as well. And finally, there has to be some regulation. There has to be regulation so that consumers feel protected. As a consumer, if a developer dupes you, what is your recourse? And how quickly can you get justice? So there has to be regulation. And examples have to be set for those who are misbehaving. I believe is that if we address some of these issues, we'll make significant progress in addressing the housing problem that we have in Nigeria. I want to thank each and every one of you for listening, and I'm hoping, I'm praying that we'll all partner together to make a difference in this sector, and that we'll move from talking to acting. We move from acting. Acting has to be underpinned by responsible behavior. It has to be underpinned by us aggressively building our capacity of the institutions, capacity of individuals who are able to lend, who are able to borrow, and pay religiously to maintain their